Hey guys, it's Chris here. I'm kind of coming to you from the quarantine situation room. I'm sure everybody is a real stressed out right now, and I figured this would be the perfect time to make some content because I'm kind of all cooped up. I got my mom staying with me for a couple weeks, so that's a little bit stressful, but we're having some fun. We got our cats together, we got 2 Roombas, we have now 3 Echoes. What more could we want? And of course, I'm assuming that you guys are probably staying in place like you're supposed to be or whatever you're doing, and maybe not doing as much retail arbitrage as you normally do, so maybe you're trying to do some online arbitrage. So what I figured I would do is I would make a video kind of comparing and contrasting retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, how they kind of have some pros and cons for each of them. In fact, I decided I would wear one of my favorite online arbitrage stores t-shirts, which is ThinkGeek, which is now out of business. It got bought by GameStop, which is one of my favorite retail arbitrage and online arbitrage stores. Got bought out by them and then ruined. And now GameStop looks like it's probably going to be going bankrupt by the end of the week. So we shall see what happens. But hopefully you're not going to go bankrupt this week. And let's talk here about some pros and cons for OA versus RA. So let's start by just defining what online arbitrage is and what retail arbitrage is. Now, retail arbitrage is kind of the classic business model in the FBA community. Now, the book Retail Arbitrage by Chris Green was really where a lot of people, including myself, got started. And retail arbitrage is just going into stores like, Ross, TJ Maxx, Kohl's, Target, Walmart, and buying things off the shelf. Very, very basic. Most people, that's how they got started. Online arbitrage is pretty much the same thing, except you don't go in the store. You buy it online. So instead of going into Walmart and looking at the clearance section or looking at an aisle, you go on walmart.com and look there. Target.com, Ross.com, TJMaxx.com, all those places. So that's the only real difference. Now, there's definitely some pros and some cons to both of them, and that's what we're going to dive into. Now, with retail arbitrage, it's kind of the easiest way, in my opinion, to get started. Here's some really big pros for retail arbitrage. Number one, you're going to get your inventory faster. So one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is the money cycle in this business. The longer you hold inventory from the moment you pay for it until the moment it's sold, the longer you wait to get your money back. Very basic. So with retail arbitrage, I could go on Monday, buy something, prep it, ship it on Tuesday. Really, I could ship it on Monday, but realistically, let's say I buy something on Monday, I prep on Tuesday, ship on Wednesday. That's a 3-day product cycle for me to go from purchase to out the door to Amazon. Now with retail arbitrage, that's very short. With online arbitrage, it could be I buy it and then I have to wait for shipping, processing and shipping. So it could take a few days to get to me. So it does add a few days to the product cycle. If you're really trying to churn your money faster, that's a problem. But retail arbitrage has that benefit where it's the shortest possible product cycle because you're buying it and you have possession of the item right away. You can actually also hold the product. This is a big thing. A lot of times, if you order stuff online, it can come to you damaged. Well, with retail arbitrage, you can actually pick up the box. Does the box look opened? Is it used? Is the corner dented? Is it scratched? All that stuff. You have no idea with online arbitrage, but with retail arbitrage, you're holding the product in your hand. That's a huge advantage if you're really concerned about product conditions, especially on stuff that might be like a collectible, a video game system, stuff that you want to make sure is new. You can also check date codes. This is big if you're going to be doing groceries. It's virtually impossible to do online arbitrage for groceries. There's definitely some sites that'll actually tell you what the expiration is, but with retail arbitrage, you can look right at it, hold it in your hand, see what the date is, and then decide whether or not you're going to have enough time to sell that FBA, or if you have to do merchant fulfillment, stuff like that. So it's a huge advantage for retail arbitrage. And of course, sales can be more local to you with retail arbitrage. So you could go into a Walmart and they have an incredible clearance section, the best one out there. Something in that store is cheaper than anywhere else in the country. Or maybe there's a regional store, something like a Big Lots. Well, Big Lots isn't regional, but Ocean State Job Lots, that's pretty regional up in the New England area. You can have Ollie's, which is kind of everywhere, but only on the East Coast. Menards is regional, Meijer is regional. Even something like Kroger is regional. A lot of people don't know that. You guys are spoiled with Kroger, the grocery chain. That's a very regional chain. And because of that, not everybody doing FBA has access to that. And that makes these items a little bit more exclusive, which means that you may have less competition. That's a big thing. Whereas with online arbitrage, pretty much anybody and their mother can order it. Now, another big advantage to retail arbitrage is the clearance section. We've all probably bought something clearance and sold it on Amazon. That's how I got started. So you can't really do that online. You know, Target.com and Walmart.com, of course they have a clearance section, but it's nowhere near as good as the clearance section at your local store. So that's a huge advantage of going in and actually looking at stuff and seeing the stuff in person and being able to get maybe some regional clearance items in there. And, you know, there's been times that I've gone in and bought stuff for stupid cheap prices on the clearance section like at a Walmart or Target, and that's less likely to happen online. Another big advantage with retail arbitrage is you can merchant fulfill the items the moment you pay for them. This is huge. So if you buy something on Monday, and I've recently done this because of course everybody's online shopping because of the coronavirus thing, and because of that, people are willing to maybe purchase things that they normally would buy Prime, purchase them merchant fulfilled. Plus the Prime shipping deadlines are out so far right now that it could be a problem if you really need something. In fact, I just ordered something and some of my options weren't going to get here until next month, which is a crazy long turnaround. Now, people that are merchant fulfilling it, they'll get it to me in 3 days. This also works a lot during Q4 where people, you know, they want stuff faster. Amazon might be backed up, but we don't have that problem. With retail arbitrage, you can buy the item, have it in your possession, and list it merchant fulfilled and sell it, sometimes even in the store. I've done that when I was selling the Game of Thrones Oreos, where I would go into a Walmart, buy a cartload of Oreos, load up my cartload, you know, add the items to my inventory, check out, and then get my car, get everything loaded, and go to the next one. And there was this one particular Walmart where I was driving, and it was about a 40-minute drive, and for about 30 minutes of that, I had no reception. So I get to the next Walmart where I got reception. I pull in the parking lot where I get reception, and my phone just goes boom, 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 boom. And it was all of the sales notifications. I had sold like 250 Oreos in half an hour driving from one Walmart to the other. It was amazing. You cannot do that with online arbitrage because you should never list an online arbitrage item merchant fulfilled until you have it in your possession. So again, shortening the product cycle, something you can do with retail arbitrage, but not with online arbitrage. You also can get around buying limits with retail arbitrage much easier than online arbitrage. See, if they tell you, hey, at this Walmart you can only buy 10 of something, or even just say there's only 10 on the shelf, well, go to the next Walmart. It's pretty easy to do. And if you aren't familiar with the tool BrickSeek, I'll do a video about it, but I use BrickSeek to check the inventory level of stores like Target, Lowe's, and Walmart, okay? And it'll actually tell me the price and the quantity that the next store has, so I don't waste my time driving around for stuff. But that's a big thing. If you are doing a chain like groceries or something like that, you know, there's like 5 different of the same grocery stores in my town, so if I'm gonna be picking up an item from that grocery chain, I can go to 5 stores in like an hour. And that's pretty awesome. So it's a little bit easier with retail arbitrage to get around purchase limits. It's also really easy when you do retail arbitrage. In fact, it's not even that it's easier, it's the only way to do it, is to make connections with managers. A lot of my success in this business has become from knowing people, okay? Making out deals with Walmart managers, making deals with Target managers, grocery store managers, anything like that. As far as I can figure, the only way to do that is with retail arbitrage. Face-to-face, flesh on flesh, okay? You can't really do that online because what are you going to do? Email them, manager at target.com, hey, can I get a discount? It's not going to work. But when you're actually in store and talking to the manager and face-to-face, you can work out deals like that real easily. Can't do that online, and that's a huge advantage when you do retail arbitrage. I also have found that it's way easier to set up your tax exempt in-store. Now that's not always true, but like with Walmart.com, it can be a little trickier to set up than with Walmart in store. With Walmart in store, you just go up to the front desk, you show them your paperwork, they hand you a card, and you're done. It's like 2 minutes. With Walmart online, at least when I did it a few years ago, it was a little bit more of a rigmarole to do. But of course, that might be a little bit different, and maybe some stores have streamlined that now. But at the time, it was way easier to do in store. This might be a little bit of a break even now, but in my experience, it has been easier to do in store. Retail arbitrage, of course, is not without its cons. I think it's pretty awesome, but if you live in a rural area like I do, it can be kind of tricky. See, I don't have like that many Walgreens. My local Walgreens is half an hour away and then about 100 miles away. So if I want to hit a bunch of Walgreens, I have a problem. Same with Walmart. I'm like half an hour from Walmart, but instead of being half an hour and then half an hour and then half an hour, I'm like half an hour this way, half an hour that way, half an hour over there, half an hour over there. It's a big pain in the butt if I want to go to a bunch of Walmarts. I got to drive out like 3 hours and go in a circle to hit just like 4 or 5 Walmarts. It's a big pain in the butt. But with retail arbitrage, or with online arbitrage, I could, shop at a bunch of stores pretty quickly. So retail arbitrage can be a lot more time intensive to get the same amount of inventory, and that's definitely a problem. Retail arbitrage can also be a lot harder to do if you have responsibilities like a family, children, that kind of stuff. I just live alone with a cat. It's pretty easy for me to get in my car and drive for 8 hours or 12 hours or however long I need to be gone. But if you have kids, that's probably not going to work for you. Or of course, if you have a job and you have to be at your work the next day. So it can be a little bit harder to manage your time, especially if you have to do longer trips to get to stores. If you live in a more populated area, you might be able to hit like 4 or 5 stores in a couple hours, whereas for me, I don't really have that luxury. But again, you could probably sit on a laptop and shop at 4 or 5 stores in a couple hours pretty easily with online arbitrage. So it's a big disadvantage of retail arbitrage. With retail arbitrage, there's also way less cash back opportunities. Okay, so it's a little bit harder to use like Ebates and Retail Me Not, that kind of stuff. It doesn't really work in store quite as well. Now, there are some programs that will work with that, but not a lot of them. So a lot of stores, you're not going to get the cash back in store that you could get online. And that couple percent, it does definitely add up. And the last drawback of retail arbitrage, and I kind of touched on this already, is it can be downright impossible if you live in a rural area or if you just generally lack transportation. So there are some sellers that live in New York City or Philadelphia, they don't own a car. So they got to take an Uber or a Lyft or rent a car or something like that to go out sourcing. And that's a big problem, a big pain in the butt. And that would make online arbitrage a lot easier for you because you don't need to make all those arrangements to go shopping and make the arrangements for your transportation. I kind of take for granted that I have a car, but again, not everybody does. And, maybe if you're a college student, you're trying to dabble in this, or you just, for whatever reason, can't leave the house as readily as I can, or other people may be able to, that could be a huge drawback for retail arbitrage. So let's talk about online arbitrage. I've spent a lot of time talking about retail arbitrage, going in stores. Let's talk about doing this online. So the biggest pro to online arbitrage is that you can fit it into your life way easier than retail arbitrage. If you're just going to work at home, I carry a laptop with me, and you can kind of live that laptop lifestyle that everybody seems to want to talk about. You can source on vacation, that kind of stuff. It's way easier to shoehorn into your life. Especially if you have limited time or you got to work from home, if you got to watch your kids or something like that. Online arbitrage is something you can do from anywhere. You need a laptop and an internet connection. That's it. So if you got kids, you don't want to have to throw them all in the minivan, schlep them out to Walmart to buy stuff. Online arbitrage is definitely the way to go. You can also very often get more online than you could in store. Some stores do limit you online, but a lot of stores, you can just buy as many as you want. Now, of course, that won't work for Target and Kohl's. They'll eventually block you. But Walmart, you can buy hundreds of an item for the most part. And if you're going to make stealth accounts, you can buy hundreds of items from stores like Target and Kohl's. I do it all the time. Just got to be a little bit tricky about it. But it is nice to be able to order it online and get hundreds of items delivered. Whereas even with my giant cargo van, I maybe couldn't pick up all those hundreds of items in one shot because they take up too much space. There's been plenty of times, especially with big toys around Q4, like something like, there's this particular toy that I love selling. It's like this wide, it's like 2 feet wide, a foot deep, and like 8 inches tall. I love selling those. I sell hundreds of them. They would fill up my entire cargo van if I just bought as many of them as I wanted to in store. But I can buy them. They come from Kohl's. That's all I'm going to give you as a hint as to what it is. If you've ever been in my Q4 groups, you know what I'm talking about. It's the biggest item I share. But that item, I can buy hundreds of, get them delivered, never have to worry about the space in my cargo van, never have to worry about driving around with them all, and go out and use my time more efficiently. You can use cashback portals when you do online arbitrage. That's a huge thing. Plus, of course, you can buy gift cards right there. Like Ray's, they do instant delivery. Now, you can use that in store, but it's also nice, you know, I'm seeing my Kohl's shopping cart fill up. Hey, I got 500, I got 1,000 in it. Go over to Ray's. Oh, they got a $1,000 gift card. Let me buy that. I use it right away. That's super nice. Plus, then I could check out using Top Cashback or Ebates, Rakuten Now, whatever you use. Those all work online. So you can get to that extra couple points that you can't get with retail arbitrage. And those couple percentage points, like I said before, they definitely add up. There's also tools like Tactical Arbitrage where you can search online arbitrage store offerings really fast. You know, when you're going in store and you're scanning, you know, like 100 items in the clearance section, that might take you an hour or two. Whereas with Tactical Arbitrage, which I'll put my affiliate link and a discount code right in the comments for this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah. Okay, you can do that and scan hundreds of items in a few minutes or thousands of items in an hour. Okay, much, much more time efficient than going in store. But you could use a service like BrickSeek for like Walmart and Target, where you would use Tactical Arbitrage online, find the items you want to buy, and then use BrickSeek to see where they are in store. I do that all the time. It's a smart tip. Not a lot of people do it. And I'm intentionally burying it in this video so that people that watch my videos to the end get this really good tip, but the people that only watch the beginnings don't get the good tip. And of course, less wear and tear in your car. I put about 80,000 miles on my cargo van since I got it. I just realized that the other day when I went to get an oil change in it and they replaced the little sticker, and I realized, oh crap, I bought this with 60,000 miles and I just did the 125,000 mile oil change on it. Okay, it has been around the country. I should probably do a video just on where I've driven my cargo van, because I think I've gone to like 25 states in that thing. But there's a lot of wear and tear on your car when you do retail arbitrage. It's a thing. So, you know, if you maybe don't want to put thousands of miles on your car like I do, maybe you should avoid it. Now, of course, you could get around that by just buying a beater minivan, which I know a lot of people do, and kind of I did, except I bought a beater cargo van. So just something to keep in mind, that there will be wear and tear on your vehicle. Now, of course, you can deduct that mileage in your taxes, which you should talk to your accountant about. So do pay attention to that. Another big advantage of online arbitrage over retail arbitrage is it's really easy with OA to set up and use a prep center. Now, there are some prep centers that you can do retail arbitrage with, that definitely exists, but it's really easy to do online arbitrage with a prep center. So if you're starting and you're really not able to do prep, definitely can be nice to have somebody else do it. But of course, remember that the more you add in there, the more money you're spending on, you know, stuff like prep, the less money you're making. But if you live in an area with a high tax rate, let's say, you know, New Jersey, New York, California, okay, those have some of the highest sales tax in the country. If you use a prep center that's located in a state with lower sales tax, like New Hampshire, Montana, you know, states with zero sales tax, you could actually save enough money on sales tax to cover the cost of the prep center doing the prep. I think the break even when I lived in, or when I did the calculation last, was a $17 item sent to Pennsylvania. It was cheaper to ship it to a state with zero sales tax and have them deal with the prep if the prep was a certain fee. So something to keep in mind. Pretty simple. You just look how much are you paying for the sales tax versus how much would it be to do the prep, and see which one's cheaper. And that's a good way to not have to do as much prep. Definitely a huge check mark in the online arbitrage column. Now, there's also some cons to online arbitrage. We already kind of talked about this a little bit. You're going to have to wait on shipping time. So if I buy something on Monday, it might be Thursday or Friday before I actually have it in hand, and that means I probably can't ship it out until the next Monday. So I have that extra week or so that I have the money tied up. Maybe that's not that big of a deal, but really, churning your money is a lot more important than people think it is. I would much rather have a fast churn than a high ROI if I have to hold out for it. So, it is important to consider, but it's not a deal breaker. You also may have to pay for shipping. Now, if you pay for shipping, it's like $5 on a $1,000 order. What's that? In fact, it's 0.5%. That's what it is. So maybe this isn't that big of a deal, but it can be frustrating, if some place is going to charge you hundreds of dollars of shipping. And I've had that happen where I've ordered so much from stores, even when I break the stores down the orders down into smaller shipments, that they've tried to hit me up and get me to pay freight fees. That happened one time because I accidentally bought like 5 tons of birdseed online. It was a weird time in my life, but I ended up having to pay like $500 in shipping afterwards that I was not told I was going to have to pay for. Now, I made enough money off the birdseed that $500 wasn't that big of a deal, but if I would have been able to go in store and pick that up, I wouldn't have had to pay the $500. So just something to keep in mind, not every place offers free shipping. But you can always negate that by looking and seeing, like online, if there's free shipping codes. Ebates will have those sometimes, or like Disney has it right on the website. You can look in the sales section of most websites, and they'll usually have a free shipping code, so it's not that big of a deal. Of course, I've mentioned this already, expiration dates with online arbitrage. This can be a huge problem. Places don't necessarily always do first in, first out, or last in, first out. Oh my, I haven't done shelf stocking in forever. Okay. You put the new stuff in the back, you take the old stuff out front, and that's what you send to the customer. Stock rotation. Most websites don't really do good stock rotation. They pretty much just grab whatever and ship it to you. So your expiration dates could be anywhere. Now, this might not be that big of a deal if you have a store in your area for it. So, if I order something from Walgreens, let's say, and I get an expired product, I just take it back to Walgreens and they'll usually let me exchange it or get my money back. Not that big a deal, but if I tried to order from a store that I don't locally have, then it could be a big problem. So just something to keep in mind, if you're going to do grocery, make sure maybe that you have a physical store to return it to if the website won't tell you what the expiration date is. That has saved my butt numerous times. You also, in that vein, may get damaged product, okay? There's tons of times, especially when ordering from GameStop and ThinkGeek, rest in peace, where they pretty much just put, a light bulb in a brick and an air pillow in a box and sent it on its way and said, good luck. And that's really frustrating when you get that item that you thought you were going to make a whole bunch of money on and it's been beaten to death in the postal service. Or your post guy is a dick and he leaves it in the rain. It's happened to all of us. And that's a problem with online arbitrage. Now, of course, going back to just having the store local to you, and GameStop and ThinkGeek are a great example, because if I ordered something from ThinkGeek and it got to me damaged, I could just take it back to GameStop. Easy enough. But again, it's adding a step that I really didn't have to do if I would have bought it in store and could have inspected it in store. So just something to keep in mind. I think the biggest issue with online arbitrage is everybody has access to the sales. This is a double-edged sword, of course, because everybody has access, so you have access, but that also means everybody has access, so everybody has access. And that means that you're going to get a lot more competition online because people are, using tools like Tactical Arbitrage to scan clearance sections on, Target and Walmart and wherever, and getting in there. They're buying the same stuff you are. It's way more likely that more people can jump on the listing if the item is a clearance item from Target.com versus a clearance item in an Ollie's, where only a few, some people have access. So online arbitrage can be a little frustrating. I've definitely found there to be more of a price tanking issue with online arbitrage. I'm not saying that always happens, but I have noticed that it's more of an issue with online arbitrage than retail arbitrage. And your mileage may vary on that. It's happened to me with retail items where I've bought them in store that the price has tanked, but it definitely, I believe, has happened more online. Because again, everybody can take advantage of the sales. That's why it's so important to stack your discounts carefully. An upcoming video, I will go into discount stacking and show you guys how a professional does it. Because I have been paid to do it, and that makes me a professional. So, in summation, it sounds like they're both kind of pretty awesome and both pretty crappy. But let's talk about what the best one is. So guys, I think I gave a pretty good breakdown of the pros and cons of online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. And the real answer for which one's better, because everybody's going to say, well, which one's better? The battle of the titans. Which one's better? And the answer is, they're both pretty awesome. Okay? Sorry to disappoint, guys, but the answer is a healthy FBA business should probably have both if you can do it. If you're in a situation where you simply can't do retail arbitrage, you know, I talked about that, you got kids, taking care of your family, whatever, then you can't do it, and that's fine. But you should try to do both of them as much as possible. And that's going to give you the best mixtures of the best of both worlds. And of course also, don't forget the secret weapon, in-store pickup. There's so much you can do with in-store pickup where you order something from Target.com, let's say, you go in store, you pick it up, so you're still going in store, you can still look at the condition of the product, you can still look at the expiration date, you still get to, you know, press the flesh, see the people, all that stuff, and you get the product, you're in and out in like 10 minutes. I do that all the time, and I do it with a mixture of OA and RA. So a lot of times what I do, specifically with Target, is I'll order as many online from Target.com to be delivered to my house or my warehouse as possible. Then I do as many as I can for in-store pickup. Then once I go in store, I do my in-store pickup, I put it out in my car, and then I go and I walk the aisles and I look for more. This has been the best for me, and this works really well for me, so I'm able to get the quick inventory with the retail arbitrage and the in-store pickup, because with in-store pickup from Target in particular, it's like 2 hours for me to go to pick it up. So I pay for it 2 hours later, it's in a cart waiting for me to pick it up. This is the best of both worlds. And I'll do some more videos about in-store pickup because I think people really don't utilize it as much as they can. But I'm doing that mixture of OA, I'm doing that mixture of RA, and in-store pickup. People always try to say, like, well, what percentage your business of, you know, what do you do? I do about 50% private label and wholesale, and then the other 50% is going to be liquidation, retail arbitrage, and online arbitrage. So these are cornerstones of my business, and I think any healthy FBA business should be about the same, where they're doing a healthy amount of both retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, if you can swing it. Now, if you can't, then you're going to have to get creative, and I think I gave some creative solutions in this video. So that I hope that this was helpful, and you know, if you're quarantined, you can't get out of the house, and you're stuck at home, you got your laptop, your internet, your kids are around being annoying, and you know, you've already watched Tiger King like 4 times. Now's the time to get on Target.com, get on Walmart.com. A lot of these websites, if you can get the inventory, are doing sales right now. Or at least maybe explore some replens, stuff like that. There's plenty of work to be doing retail arbitrage and online arbitrage right now that you might not even be able to buy stuff, but you're able to kind of like see what's out there. Maybe find some new stores. Maybe learn how to do some scans in tactical arbitrage that otherwise you wouldn't have bothered doing. You never know. There's so much options out there. So anyway, guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys make a lot of money. I hope you try some RA. If you're doing RA exclusively, try some OA. If you're doing OA exclusively, do some RA. It's definitely worth a shot. There's a lot of good information out there for both of them.